Hi, I'm Chelsea Jablonski. This is my reflection video for a vocal pedagogy class. The first subject I'm going to be talking about is breathing and apocho. Apocho is the correct way to breathe while you're singing. I was actually taught belly breathing by a previous vocal coach, and therefore I taught my students belly breathing. I found that whenever I was teaching my students, it was really confusing for them. They didn't quite understand it, and the ones that did, it was just really hard for them to demonstrate. As far as my own singing went, I didn't know any different, so I thought that it was really helping me whenever I was singing. But after learning apocho breathing, I find that I can sing with so much more power. I have the support I need for whatever I'm singing. I'm singing louder. I feel like my voice is a little more free to do what I need it to do because I'm not so worried about breathing and running out of breath. As far as my students go, they seem to understand a lot better. I've been doing the breathing exercise that we learned in our class, and they seem to really respond well to it, and they're able to breathe the way that I'm trying to teach them, apocho breathing. And while I'm doing that exercise with them, it's actually really helping me just as much as it's helping my students because it reminds me that I as well need to be practicing that breathing exercise, so I do it right along with them. The second topic I'm going to discuss is phonation, which is the production of sound. So I've learned to identify hyper and hypophonation in my students' voices. I've also learned how to deal with tension in their voices. So a few of my students sing with a lot of tension. They want to control every little thing that their vocal folds are doing. They want every sound that comes out of their mouth to sound perfect every time. So first of all, I let them know that it's okay to mess up. No one sings perfectly every single time, and it's actually good to mess up because then you can learn from your mistakes. I also tell them to relax. Sometimes just being in a voice lesson, you feel really tense. Okay, everything has to be so perfect. But if I tell my student to relax, deep breath, then it helps them to realize, oh, okay, I can relax. I can just sing the way I normally do, and then that way, me as a teacher, I can help them with whatever their issues are. As far as tension goes, to help relieve tension in the jaw, the tongue, the lips, I use vocal exercises such as ya 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 ya. I also use ta and ba. All three of those help to get the jaw moving and loosened up. I use these vocal exercises to just get whatever is causing tension, just get it moving, get it loose, and reduce that tension. Also, in this section, I have learned that there are proper ways to describe good and bad sounds. If my student was singing and I said, that just sounds bad, well, first of all, now my student is insecure about the way that they sing, and second of all, that's a matter of opinion. It doesn't help them to fix the issue at all. Using adjectives such as breathy, raspy, free, a rich sound, these help the student to better understand what they're doing right or wrong and to be able to fix the issue if there is one without feeling insecure about the way that they sing. The next section is register. Register is the different sections of the vocal range. The one thing that has helped me the most is modal voice. So modal voice is the register that's in the middle. It's the typical speaking range. I'm used to hearing and teaching about head and chest voice. One problem with that is that whenever I'm teaching it, and even using those terms for myself, my own singing, my students get confused. They think, okay, chest voice and head voice are two different things, and so they make them sound completely different. Whereas with modal voice, the entire register is supposed to be really smooth all the way across. So yes, the lower part of modal voice and the higher part are gonna sound a little bit different, but in the middle, there's not gonna be that just total flip into head voice. it's going to be a smooth transition. Another thing is that my speaking voice is really high, and I've learned that I am actually speaking a lot of the time in my falsetto. So falsetto is a higher range just above modal voice, and it's actually not very good to be speaking there. I could end up having dysphonia from speaking in my falsetto all of the time. I'm definitely working on trying to fix that, but that was super, super helpful information for me personally. The next section is articulation, and that is basically pronouncing words. This is a difficult thing for me personally and for a lot of people in this area. We tend to not close off our consonants, like at the end of words especially, and there is a big issue with vowel placement. So there is a certain area of the mouth where certain vowels should be placed, and typically in this area, a lot of the time we place all of our vowels right in the middle of our mouth. So this is something I am working a lot on whenever I'm talking, whenever I'm singing. I will end up teaching this more, but I want to work on it myself and get better at it before I start teaching this to my students. The last section is voice classification. This helped me personally because a lot of the people I have worked with, vocal coaches, choir directors, they've all classified me as a soprano, whereas I am actually a mezzo-soprano with a lower voice, even though my speaking voice is so high. Whenever I found this out, I was so happy. I started singing everything a little bit lower and realized that my voice felt so much better. I was able to sing with more power, and I enjoyed it so much more. Luckily, the misclassification didn't really affect my voice in a bad way. It helped me to strengthen some high notes, but it didn't really do any damage. Unfortunately, through this class, I have learned that misclassification can do damage. So it's really important as a teacher to listen to a student's voice, really learn their voice, help them to learn some good techniques, and work with them for a little while before classifying their voice. If a voice is misclassified, it can do damage, and sometimes it won't do damage, but as in my case, I was singing songs that were really high and uncomfortable for my voice when I could have been singing songs that were in my vocal range and enjoying it a lot more. This concludes my reflection video. I very much enjoyed this vocal pedagogy class. Teaching is one thing that I'm very passionate about, and now I'm able to be an even better voice teacher, and I'm so grateful for that.